The largest crowd of the season in Edmonton, largest crowd of the season in the CFL. Sky blue, stadium green, green and white, a Rider Nation invasion in Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium today. It's the green and white and the green and gold.
Mike Riley last week versus Toronto did something that has only happened 31 times in the over 100-year history of the Canadian Football League. Threw for 500 yards or more, but did not get the win. On the other sideline, Darian Durant did not have his best week in the Canadian Football League, but has yet to throw an interception in 6 starts for Durant, and that equates to over 170 throws.
These teams with some history on the line. 1971, last time Saskatchewan had a 7-1 start. On the other side, for Cavis Reed, trying to avoid that same number from 1971. 1s and 7s in the air today when Edmonton went 1-7. It's their second meeting. They met on opening night. The Eskimos and the Roughriders. Saskatchewan won, and since that time, these teams have gone in opposite directions. Ricky Schmidt with his left foot to kick this one off. Big crowd here today in Edmonton. We are underway, and Hugh Charles takes it on the hop at his 10, brings it to the 20, kicks it outside, tries to find a seam, and he is smothered near the 22-yard line. Mike Riley brings out his offense, and here are our starters to watch.
31st quarterback in CFL history, over 500 yards. We'll have more on that as this show goes on, but Mike Riley did not get the win. His number one receiver over the last couple of weeks has been Fred Stamps, who leads the league at 172 yards versus Toronto. And since joining Fred Stamps, Kerry Coates' production has gone up over the last 2 games in a big, big way.
Mike Riley in the shadow and throws it behind Fred Stamps. Quite a week last week for Mike Riley. As we take a look at the starters to watch for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard.
You know, Weldon Brown is looking forward to this game. Played in week 1 against this team as the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Ray Williams had that big interception just before the half when these 2 teams met. And the last time they did, Dwight Anderson had some issues.
Riley flutters it out to Fred Stamps. First down automatically up near the 45-yard line. One thing Fred Stamps brings you is a lot of yards after catch, and his average per catch is off the charts.
Well, and I mentioned Dwight Anderson because he had some issues, some penalty issues. He's going to be matched up for most of the afternoon on Fred Stamps. Now, the Riders may give him a little help, but he came up limping after that coverage.
Hugh Charles now. Foot race on the right side, gets some blocking help. Steps out of bounds about a yard, maybe a yard and a half shy of the first down marker. A pickup of 8 yards. Mike Riley signals to the sideline.
This is big, Rod, because Dwight Anderson was really going to be in charge of looking out for number 2 most of the game. They had different schemes ready to try and slow down the league's number 1 receiver, and he left after play 1 on defense.
Hey, Kuhorn, Kerry Coate, the wideouts. Riley shotgun. Decides to hand it off. Hugh Charles breaks free up the middle. Big pickup into Saskatchewan territory near the 42-yard line. 18-yard gain for Hugh Charles.
Talked to Hugh Charles today before the game, and he said that he may see the ball a lot more. One of the scratches for the Edmonton Eskimos this game this afternoon was John White, so he won't have to lose some of his reps within the game to White. Maybe get some more touches here this afternoon.
John White was taking over for almost every 3rd play from Hugh Charles. It gets the rock again and runs into a white wall.
Not sure what happened to Dwight Anderson, but he was limping on that very first play or very first series as that out to Fred Stamps. He's got close to the sideline, started limping. Not sure if he hurt his ankle. Looked like Ivan Gutfrin, their trainer, is working on spatting up the shoe and taping over his shoe. In the meantime, Fred Stamps.
2nd and 6. Riley And tipped near the goal line, near the 4-yard line. Fred Stamps got a hand on it, but it was into double coverage down there, so the kick team will come out.
I was going to say, Rod, Fred Stamps is now going to be working on Terrell Mays. Well, Dwight Anderson is on the bench getting attended to by the training staff, but over the top comes the help that we talked about. Tyron Brackenridge makes sure he knows where the leading receiver in the CFL is at all times, and he is over the top quickly to help Terrell Mays.
Hugh O'Neill picked up by the Edmonton Eskimos from the BC Lions, former Alberta kicker. 4 of 5 this season in BC, the longest 40. This one from the 46, and it is good. Well, that's the way to make your first kick a good one. When we come back, Darian Durant brings his offense on the field. What a season they've had in Saskatchewan. 3-0 Eskimos. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Saskatchewan's first series at Commonwealth Stadium. Again, they won the season opener and then started to take off. 5-0 start, 6-1 right now, and Darian Durant has not thrown an interception this season. Throws it right away to Weston Dressler. Dressler is brought down up near the 45-yard line, a pickup of 9.
Starters to watch for Saskatchewan. G-Roy Simon, one catch, about 5 yards away from 16,000 for his career. I mentioned Darian Durant coming off not his best game of the season a week ago against Montreal, but it's been a season that's been almost perfect for Darian Durant when you look at his touchdown-interception ratio and the win-loss column for his football team. And Corey Sheets, 81 yards away from 1,000, and we've only played 7 games.
Likely to see Sheets right here. No, play action. Durant goes deep looking for Dressler, and he's got it. What a play call on 2nd and short. Weston Dressler, 37-yard reception.
Weston Dressler, one of the best in the league, if not the best, at reacting with the ball in the air and adjusting his route. Darian Durant had that pocket close around him as he let this go, and the ball was thrown way outside shoulder to Weston Dressler. But watch his reaction. He sees it in the air, then he's got to make that adjustment, find it, and run underneath it.
33 catches on the season for Dressler, has 4 touchdowns. Riders on the move. Now it's to Sheets, the CFL rushing leader. Corey Sheets with that shuffle that has now become so famous throughout the Canadian Football League. What a runner.
Take a look at the guys that'll be basically in charge of trying to slow down Corey Sheets. Odell Willis, who's been on a tear of late. Last 2 games, he has 3 sacks and a couple of forced fumbles. Rennie Curran gets his 2nd start, middle linebacker for J.C. Sherritt. Made 8 tackles versus Toronto in his first game as a starter there. And T.J. Hill may get matched up on Chris Getzlaff this afternoon.
2nd and 4, and they give it back to Sheets. Very close to a first down. They'll wait for the spot here. Had to get to the 19-yard line. Doesn't look like he got there, so it will be 3rd and short.
I mentioned that matchup because Getzlaff is the #1 receiver for the Riders last week, and maybe be matched up on T.J. Hill. We'll watch that this afternoon. We'll see. Looks like they are a bit short, and
they're bringing out the kick team.
They're going to not take any chances inside of a yard. I mean, it's almost a half yard here for Corey Chamberlain.
So early in the ball game, going after the points.
Yeah, take points.
Rene Paredes's streak ended last night, the longest streak in the CFL. Chris Milo, 16 for 16, including that game winner last weekend against Montreal. Make it 17 in a row. And this game is tied at 3. The life of Riley. Mike Riley coming off a 500-yard game. Puts it in the air again when we come back to Commonwealth.
Well, we mentioned Mike Riley's big game a week ago against the Toronto Argonauts, over 500 yards passing. I know when you talk to him, he'll tell you that he would have taken the win over the big game, but it's a type of game that can really give the young quarterback confidence. 511 yards, only 31 players in the history of the CFL, or excuse me, 31 times that has happened in the history of the CFL with 20 different quarterbacks.
Riley back at it from the 35. Field goals apiece here in this first quarter. Beautiful day in Edmonton for football. Riley dodges one, but not another, and down he goes.
He's up, he's up, he's up.
Terrius George gets to Mike Riley. Tears into him.
Saskatchewan Roughrider defense, they rank second in the league in the sack department with 23 so far on the season. Great push up the middle, and Keith Sholigan actually got there first. And then he just barely missed and allowed his teammate Terrius George to clean up and get that first sack.
Ferocious front line. The Riders a year ago at this time only had 12 sacks. Riley lets it fly and incomplete. Looking for Nate Kuhorn. Kuhorn made a miracle catch in Toronto. A little tip drill last week. Would have needed another miracle on that toss from Mike Riley, so they're going to have to boot it away. Quick 2 and out for the Eskimos.
Yeah, second and long, and he put that to the outside shoulder where the defender was not. Prince Miller was inside. It was a dangerous throw if he led Kuhorn in there, so he threw it high and wide. If he makes the big catch, they got a little bit better field position to punt, but he was short anyway.
No Jock Sanders, who fumbled twice last week. On the return, it's Weston Dressler. Dressler had a key return in the victory against Montreal. Put it in field goal range for Milo. Dressler trying to streak outside, and he is brought down. Great pursuit. The special teams as G. Roy Simon and the Riders bring their offense on the field. G. Roy Simon starting to look like he fits into that green and white in Saskatchewan. His 1,000th reception last weekend in his career, and 5 yards away from becoming the first in CFL history to get to 16,000 yards.
And that's 15,995 already CFL record. The only player ever to get to 16,000 on what should be his first catch.
Darian Durant looks his way, goes over the top, and coming back for it. Great catch by Eron Riley. Riley's filling in for Rob Bagg, of course, who got hurt last week. Riley's limping to the sideline.
He got rolled under when the tackle was made. Eron Riley was up in the air and came down and kind of rolled on the back. I'm not sure which defender. See his right leg get rolled underneath there. It was with Brian Williams, the corner.
Second down and 3. Torrey Sheets in the pistol. Durant's going to throw, though, and throws a little slant. It was almost picked off, intended for Dressler. Edmonton defensive backfield that is ball hungry.
Chris Thompson came underneath. I know Donovan Alexander was in the area as well. Thompson playing that outside halfback spot on Dressler. Tries to run a quick slant off the rub, but Thompson came underneath that rub, got his hands on it. That's good defense.
Here comes Thunderfoot. Ricky Schmidt. This one is against the wind. Floats it up there. Kerry Koch able to squirm to the 40-yard line. Penalty flag on the play. We'll sort it out when we come back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Mike Riley comes up for another series here. Let's hit the sideline now and join Darcy Seaton.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Mike Riley made his first CFL start against these Riders back in week 1. You'll remember the final play of the first half. He threw an interception, led to a Riders touchdown, and basically put that football game out of reach. Well, it pays to have a short memory. When asked what he remembers from that lopsided week 1 loss to the Riders, Mike Riley simply said nothing. That was 7 weeks ago. In fact, he told us he put that game behind him the very next day, and said that this Eskimos team is a very different team from week 1, guys.
Yeah, I had a chance to chat with him yesterday Darcy, right you are. Here is a guy who knows that you have to have a very short memory in this league. He says, though, this team is 1 W away from turning the corner. Will that W come today? They've lost their last 3 games, a collective 9 points. Hugh Charles takes the handoff. Nowhere to go. Oh, Mike Riley hails from Washington, also Montana, where he grew up, and his parents are here. Pat and Rhonda, they're from Kalispell, Montana. They drive 8 hours to every home game for the Edmonton Eskimos from Montana.
When you're the father of a quarterback, gives you a few gray hairs.
He looks like the father of a quarterback.
Yeah.
He must have been a quarterback in his time.
Probably was in his time.
You know what I'm saying? 2nd and 8. Riley far side and has Shamad Chambers, who will be held short of the first down. Tackle made by Prince Miller. Shamad Chambers, great catch last week as well in Toronto in the loss against the Argonauts.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Shamad Chambers over the last couple weeks take a big step in his career, and Dwight Anderson has returned to the game and was back there for that last defensive series. This is good news for Rider fans. He does look like he may be favoring that leg a little bit. And again, the plan for the Riders here this afternoon was to have Dwight Anderson play against Fred Stamps.
2nd straight 2 and out. Again, that shadow cast by the large speaker hovering over Commonwealth Stadium. Big boot here from Grant Shaw. He's handling the punting duties. Hugh O'Neill the kicks, and Weston Dressler, he is brought down again. So is this the series that we see G-Roy Simon make CFL history again? He is, by the way, also 17 catches away from tying Ben Cahoon for the all-time reception mark. So sometime in this season, maybe the next couple of weeks, G-Roy Simon will become the all-time.
Yeah, he needs 7 today to get second place, passing Ben Cahoon. And there's his numbers for the season so far, just starting to work into that offense. But he's asked to do something else in this offense as well, and that's block. More than we've seen G-Roy Simon block as a BC Lions.
Corey Sheets, that shuffle again. Sheets held to just 74 yards last week against Montreal.
Simon and I had a good conversation yesterday, and I said, yeah, I've been watching you on film quite a bit here, and I see that you're blocking quite often. He said, yeah, you know, I've been in meetings with the team, and I ask a ton of questions in meetings. That's what a pro does. And he said, they kept figuring out, I think G-Roy knows all the blocking and protections we have. We can trust him to block, so let's make him block. He said he didn't ask any questions this week.
2nd and 5. Durant out of the backfield, and short of the first down will be Corey Sheets. And the Edmonton defense brings its A game so far here today as the clock ticks down to 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. They will also kick it away.
No, I like what Corey Chamberlain's doing, though. I mean, Darren Durant hasn't forced anything yet. He's on the road. Everyone, I think, knew that this was going to be a tougher game than their records may have indicated. And when Corey Chamberlain kicked a field goal on 3rd and real short early in the game, that was an indication of the respect that he has for this Edmonton team. They're not as bad as their record, so settle in first on the road.
Eskimos set up the return. Harry Koch takes it in the shadows, almost tripped up, and then he is nailed hard downfield by Levi Steinauer. Mike Riley comes out again and trying to come up with another performance like he did last week. 500 yards passing in one game. Mike Riley, have you ever done that before?
None. You know, I had one 400-yard game in college. It was the last game of my career, and prior to that, it was 200- and 300-yarders. But that was the first one I'd ever been a part of. So, you know, it's difficult to do, but it takes 12 guys that are really all on the same page. It takes certainly some great plays from your receivers, which we got the entire game.
And one of those receivers, of course, is one of his targets, Kerry Koch, half the first down yardage. Mike Riley, a Division II quarterback.
Only 2 other quarterbacks in Eskimo history have thrown for 500 yards. Warren Moon did it twice in '83, both times that year, and Jason Moss in a great 2004 season for Jason Moss did it. So select company for Mike Riley 500-yard passing game.
Now he has to pick himself up because another Saskatchewan sack. Jermaine McIlvaine and Terrius George both have sacks so far. They each, before this game, had 6 sacks in their career against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, now they have 7 combined on this season. McIlvaine in the rotation, and he's working with Tate George, who ran a little stunt there. Tate George went up the field and then outside. McIlvaine comes underneath that, and just no chance for that offensive line.
Bradshaw, this one not as far as the last kick. Dressler scooping it up. No yards gained on that return. Downfield quickly.
I mentioned with Darian Durant, Rod, about last week, not his best year, but this has been an almost perfect year for Darian Durant. When you looked at his body of work on the season, just 1 loss all year long. And look at the touchdown to interception ratio. Dave Dickinson had that amazing year where he was the outstanding player in 2000, 36-6, unheard of. Well, Darian Durant's numbers could literally blow that ratio away. He has not thrown one in 171 attempts coming in and counting.
He has had some trouble against the Eskimos, though. Only 5-7, and has thrown 14 career picks with 11 touchdowns. Taj Smith makes his first catch. It's a first down. Taj Smith, of course, tied the game against the Alouettes with that bomb from Darian Durant and that dramatic finish last weekend.
Well, and that was part of Durant's progression, because he played against a very good Montreal defense, and he gave them credit when I talked to him yesterday. He said they played us well, had a good game plan, but we hung around, we stayed in there, and when we had a chance, we made the plays we needed to, and one of them was Taj Smith.
Inside 2 minutes, opening quarter. Behind cover, Corey Sheets gets some good blocks again, and as great a year, as historic of a year that Corey Sheets has had, and looks like they've got an injury down there. His offensive line has provided great run blocking, but it looks like could be an injury right now that might be very costly to the Roughriders. Sheets got up right away and signaled to the bench.
Well, it is an old lineman, and I think it may have been Dan Clark, who's often in there in the tight end formation on their heavy package.
Might be a stinger or something like that. Let's take a look.
Locked up, and it's Corey Sheets. It's like someone's legs whipped him and got him right in behind. Was it Rennie Curran's? Yeah, middle linebacker Rennie Curran. He's making the tackle on Corey Sheets. His legs whipped around and hit the back of the knees of Dan Clark.
But here's the good news. As distressing as that was right away with Corey Sheets getting up, Dan Clark walks to the sideline.
He's holding maybe his arm wasn't moving around quite. That left arm. He's going to need that if they use him down in the goal line. You know he has a touchdown catch this year against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, so they're checking that left shoulder.
Maybe a stinger or something. We'll get an update. 2nd and inches. When in doubt, call on number 1.
The sheet shuffle, and it seems to me it's almost every play. I love it. It's his signature move, and it buys him a split second to find an opening. And he doesn't need much of an opening, because you can see by the numbers he is running away from the field.
26 today. He's closing in on 1,000. He'll be the fastest to 1,000 ever. Durant out to Dressler, juggles it, makes the catch. Weston Dressler, first down and more.
Well, it was just a simple little hit screen to Weston Dressler, but the ball sailed a little bit on Darian Durant, so it became a very difficult catch that pretty nonchalantly Dressler just tips it around, taps it to himself a couple of times, and then regroups, and not only that, but picks up pretty good yardage on first down. Played most of last game, Blackie, with a bit of a sore shoulder.
Yes, he did. He heard it in the end zone on the first touchdown catch Last week, Todd Smith, the hitch, going nowhere. Joe Burnett drawing back into the lineup, back on the corner for the Edmonton Eskimos. Great coverage here.
Okay, mark this one. That's a hitch screen, and Joe Burnett plays that very, very aggressively. I say mark it because you want to set a player up for like that. We've seen it all the time, a lot of different games. A couple of hitches early, and then you give them that double move later in the game.
Scott McHenry's in the game on the far side of the field, in for Eron Riley. Durant now goes over the top, and it is almost picked off. Looking for G. Roy Simon, and the veteran T.J. Hill almost had his second interception of the season.
Well, that's tremendous coverage for T.J. Hill underneath G. Roy Simon. Great play.
There is a penalty flag, and there is a Rough Rider down at the
Major
midfield
foul,
stripe.
roughing the passer. Edmonton number 45. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Roughing the passer. Damaso Munoz.
Yeah, Damaso Munoz coming in on that. He's coming in on a delayed blitz, little stunt with Ted Laurent. You know, in fairness to Damaso Munoz here, it looked like he left his feet. He jumped just before the ball was thrown, or as it was being thrown. And there was no contact with the head. That's a real close call, but we've seen many close calls on the quarterback this year, and if it's close, they're going to err on the side of protecting the quarterbacks, and no one has a problem with that, including yours truly.
What a turn of events, though, for the Eskimos and Riders. It forced them to kick instead. 15-yard penalty. Keep in mind, the Edmonton Eskimos have had some discipline issues this season. They are the most penalized team in the CFL. Xavier Fulton, you saw him kind of go flying over Darian Durant and landed awkwardly. So another O-lineman goes down for the Riders.
Playing tackle. Fulton steps out here because remember Ted Laurent ran that stunt to get Damaso Munoz in there, and you see Munoz just on the tackle on Durant rolled into Xavier Fulton's left knee.
And he will walk gingerly to the sideline. So two O-linemen, backup Dan Clark, and now Xavier Fulton, who plays left tackle and protects that blind side. Saskatchewan Roughriders bringing in Corey Watman, young rookie, their first-round pick.
And their only guy left on the O-line. And you'll see they'll move Brendan Labatt out to tackle. Put Watman inside.
1st and 10 Riders. Last play, first quarter. And the 29, Durant's in trouble, and he is sacked. Big Donio, Donna Ramasian lowers the boom on Darian Durant. Defenses rule the first 15. Field goals apiece, 3-3 at Commonwealth Stadium.
This summer, there's no sleep until the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards, with performances by Lady Gaga, Justin Timberlake, Kanye West, Robin Thicke, Miley Cyrus, Bruno Mars, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, and Katy Perry.
One quarter complete here at Commonwealth. 3-3 Saskatchewan and Edmonton. The Rough Riders may be 6-1, Glenn Suter, but one of the problems they have had, if there have been any blemishes, they have been notorious slow starters. In fact, outscored by 10 points overall this season. Another slow start for the Riders.
Well, 37 of their offensive yards in that first quarter came on that one play early on to Weston Dressler. So both defenses playing well so far in this game this afternoon. Both quarterbacks feeling a lot of pressure, not psychological pressure, but the pressure of the oncoming defensive line, because both D-lines right now are dominating the line of scrimmage.
You know, if you look at this game on paper, the paper doesn't have yard lines and goalposts. If you look at it on paper, everything favors the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Oh, yeah.
However,
because of their record.
Yeah, don't you have a feeling that the Edmonton Eskimos are just starting, they haven't turned the corner quite obviously, but they're creeping up on it. They're going to need their full A game here today, though, against the powerhouse Riders. Second quarter underway. Durant, little bubble screen here to Corey Sheets. He's got blocking help, and Corey Sheets meet Rennie Curran. Second start for Rennie Curran.
Well, I've got my eyes too on that offensive line and the changes that have had to happen because of injury for Saskatchewan. There's Brendan Labatt out front. Rennie Curran's going to end up making that tackle. He's a middle linebacker spot, but watch left tackle Brendan Labatt does his job, keeps his man high, and then comes down. He's got a little bit of an escort, and Rennie Curran steps into Corey Sheets.
Georgia Bulldog, Rennie Curran. Again, his second start, first season in the CFL. Chris Milo continues his field goal streak. Now 18 in a row. What a year it has been for the kickers in the Canadian Football League. Chris Milo keeps his streak alive. The Riders are now ahead 6-3. Wendy's Friday Night Football continues next week, week 10, with the Tiger Cats, who won today earlier over Winnipeg. And the Lions kicking off at BC Place. Live coverage gets underway 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific here on TSN. Oh, yes. It's that kind of day. What a beautiful week it's been.
And a big crowd. I mean, this is the biggest crowd in the CFL this year. Here at Commonwealth, well over 40,000.
Mike Riley hands it up the gut to Calvin McCarty.
What's your guess? A third of them Saskatchewan fans, or is that way overdoing it?
You may not be far off. And if they are, the third probably are staying in our hotel. Well, you can see they travel well. You can spot them easily.
It is a perfect afternoon for football. Very little wind, great weather and conditions. Canadian-style tailgating going on around the stadium before the game. Outstanding.
Riley throws, and Fred Stamps is sandwiched but hangs on. First down, Eskimos up near the 54-yard line. 17-yard gain. Fred Stamps, second catch of the afternoon.
Mike Riley has found his touch on the deep ball to Stamps, but in order to get that done, he's going to have to set up that deep ball in this game this afternoon with a couple of these kind of routes. Just little curls, quick outs, some dig routes coming in across the middle on a down and in route, and that's how you set up deep routes for later on.
Power sweep here. Hugh Charles lunges ahead to the 50-yard line. And a penalty flag that just flew about 4 seconds after the whistle. Some extracurricular activity that may have induced this flag. Our referee today is Murray Clark.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan number 22. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Diamond Ferry.
He's had a few of these of late, and sure is a bit of a concern for head coach Corey Chamberlain, who's really giving him an earful on the sideline, or at least did through that break as they called that penalty.
Net of 21 yards after the run by Charles. To the 35. Riley, deep drop. Here's the rush. Lets it go. And again, Fred Stamps. The tackle made by Ray Williams. Anytime you go over the middle this afternoon on a crossing pattern, expect to see number 48 there.
Well, he leads the league in receiving, Fred Stamps, but when you break it down to his production per game, you can see the separation he has from even the best in the league, like Chad Owens of the Toronto Argonauts.
3 and 3.
Almost 100 yards per game for Fred Stamps.
Here's the issue for the Eskimos. Second down conversion. The rush is on. Riley now off his back foot. He's got Stamps. It's a touchdown.
He's feeling it. You got to set up the deep routes with a couple of curls. And he got...
Mom and Pop love it.
And he got Fred Stamps in behind coverage. And the way that Mike Riley got this done is to go to the field side, buy himself some time with his eyes downfield, and put it up over the top. Tyrone Brackenridge got caught looking at Mike Riley and did not get deep enough to help out over the top on Fred Stamps.
Mike Riley showing the signs why the Edmonton Eskimos made that trade to go out and get him from the BC Lions, one of the most coveted quarterbacks. Keep in mind, Matt Nichols got hurt in the preseason. It's Mike Riley's team right now, and he's making it look easy the last couple of games. Well, it helps when you have number 2, who goes for 6 again. The Eskimos lead 10-6.
Inside receiver Marcus Henry here is going to influence Tyrone Brackenridge, and that's going to cause him to turn inside and leave Fred Stamps, the #1 receiver in the league, open in behind him. You can see that little step forward for Brackenridge on Marcus Henry gets him in trouble. He loses his depth, and that's when Fred Stamps, with that smooth stride, just gets right in behind. Saskatchewan Roughriders going to have to look to try and redirect Fred Stamps or restart him at the line of scrimmage. They let him get a good takeoff.
5th touchdown of the season for Fred Stamps. And a fumble football. It has been an issue for the Roughriders lately on returns. This time they are able to hang on.
Saskatchewan got that back. I'll show you what I mean when Fred Stamps starts to run. He gets that run towards the line of scrimmage. One of the smoothest route runners. No one up on the line to redirect him, jam him, try and slow him down. And if you let him that kind of free release, he'll get in behind you. Even if you are deep enough, it's tough on Tyrone Brackenridge. So they're going to have to shift things over and try and get either a linebacker or maybe Dwight Anderson up and be a little more physical on Stamps.
Into the shadows again. That large round shadow cast again by Speaker. High overhead Commonwealth Stadium. Minimal gain at best, maybe a yard.
Getting some pressure. Darian Durant's feeling a little pressure right now.
There's what is blocking the sun in that area of the field. Second down 9. From the 27 for the Roughriders, who trail by 4. There it goes. Corey Sheets again. The guy has more big runs, more first down runs than anyone in the CFL. Quietens this Commonwealth Stadium crowd. Another 8-yard pickup for Corey Sheets.
Bit of the element of surprise here. You've got the Edmonton Eskimos in pass rush mode. Ted Laurent got up the field and really almost vacated his gap, and that's exactly where Corey Sheets hits it. Well, he just keeps chipping away, chipping away. His best quarter and his best half is the second half. His best quarter, the third quarter. Because no matter what he gets in the first half of football games, they'll go back to Sheets. It's been one of the staples of this offense.
Xavier Fulton has returned. That's good news for the Roughriders.
Just to keep Corey Sheets involved and keep him up around that 131-yard average rushing. Now, last week was the first time he dropped below 100 yards in a game. His first 6 of the season, well over 100. And one of the reasons for that is the play of that left tackle, Xavier Fulton. So good that they've got him back in the game.
Short yardage. Drew Willie came in. Randy Curran leaping over top, but clearly a progression gave them the first down. Darian Durant. Wow, his path to what he is enjoying this season. He had a season for the ages a couple of years ago, but remember the day when Darian Durant, we first took a look at him and he was brazen enough to take that number 4. Remember when Kerry Joseph left Saskatchewan and was the most outstanding player, a Grey Cup champion, and a lot of people wondered, take that number, it might be a curse. It hasn't been. In fact, Kerry Joseph is here with the Edmonton Eskimos as a backup now. Darian Durant has become one of the elite quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League, having an MVP-like season.
Absolutely, and he and Ricky Ray right now are the 2 hottest in the game. We hope that Ricky Ray's injury isn't too serious and he'll be back soon. banged up last night.
Trouble with a handoff. Chased down on the far side, though. Odell Willis, the former Rider, was able to get to Corey Sheets.
It's the other thing that Sheets does nicely. Willis is hurt, like he might have hurt his arm. And I mentioned he's been on a tear over the last couple of games. That's the thing that Sheets can do, though. Even if he looks like he's caught in the backfield, he'll find a way to pick up a couple. He'll make a first guy miss, find a way to pick up a couple of yards. He went one-on-one there with Odell Willis, and Odell Willis got the worst of it.
The most successful team on second down in the Canadian Football League, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 2nd and 6. Durant sidearm. Not this time. But not fine. Taj Smith thrown behind him. Little pressure again from the Eskimos. Marcel Young in coverage.
Well, yeah, I was just wondering about that pressure, Rod, because it looked like the throwing motion was a little off by Darian Durant. What I mean by that is he almost tried to sidearm it, and you could see he did have a man in his face. It was Marcus Howard. Wasn't able to step into the throw, almost sidearmed it and couldn't get it where he wanted it.
Ricky Schmidt now almost had that blocked. Harry Koch shakes one, but steps out of bounds and is hit there. Wanted a penalty flag, is not getting one. Right now, the difference in this game, Mr. Stamps. 10-6 Eskimos. Well, here's our sack tally brought to you by Pure Later, tackling hunger across Canada. Check.
A couple for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jermaine McIlvain has one. They did give that Tay George sack to Keith Sholigan. So far in the stats right now, that may change, but Sholigan has his third, McIlvain his third.
Pure Later Tackle Hunger program here today, collecting non-perishable food items. In Edmonton, Riley has time, goes right side in traffic. Overthrown, was looking for Hugh Charles, who was streaking out of the backfield.
Weldon Brown was in coverage, and you always will hear that offenses like to get the matchup of a running back on a linebacker, but in this case, it really isn't running back on linebacker, it's running back on DB, and Weldon Brown, when he was in Edmonton, was a defensive back. So that's a matchup that Saskatchewan defensively would be very comfortable with.
Mike Riley to the air again. Little out pattern, and once again Fred Stamps had to make an acrobatic catch, which Fred Stamps makes look routine. 14-yard gain again for Fred Stamps. Lighting it up already 80 yards, and we're not even at halftime.
Mike Riley is gaining more and more confidence, puts this outside shoulder, just allows Fred Stamps to go get it. He has to turn back towards the field. Makes a nice adjustment as he gets to the top of the route there.
7 completions for Mike Riley. 5 have gone to his favorite target. Fred Stamps, Hugh Charles. Good scamper there. The 55-yard line. Fumble, football, no whistle. Saskatchewan has it. Dwight Anderson has the turnover. Hugh Charles is looking to the sideline saying throw the challenge flag.
Take another look. I believe it was Ray Williams making contact.
Well, his knee is down there, but where is the ball?
Well, the ball ends up out, but was the knee down first?
This is going to be difficult to discern here, too. Well, you see it come out there. Almost simultaneously as he hit the turf with his knee, the ball started coming out. So there is a challenge coming. We'll look at it at CFL Command Center.
Edmonton's challenging, but the ball carrier was down by contact before he fumbled. We'll review the play.
And we've taken 2 looks already, and I'm not sure we have been able to actually dissect this one.
Well, I think this is one of those plays, Rod, that the play call on the field or the officials call on the field is going to be the most important aspect of it, unless we find another angle, because it's ruled on the play a fumble and a turnover. And I'm not sure that we've seen an angle yet that could change and overturn that ruling. There's his knee. Looks like it touched there. And the ball, I don't know. It's tough to see because Hugh Charles' back is covering the view of the football. We're not sure if it's loose in front of him before it comes flying up in the air there.
Yeah, this challenge may take a while. They'll take a look at a number of angles. It has to be conclusive, indisputable. Here's another angle. Maybe here we'll see. Knee down. Okay, where's the ball? Comes out there. His knee is down. He has the ball. It is down.
That's knee down by contact. Hard to tell, though, if the ball is loose in front of him or does it just come loose as he's just about to hit his shoulder on the ground. And again, I think the most important aspect of this play may just be the official's call originally.
Looked like Dwight Anderson tried to claw it out of the grasp of Hugh Charles.
Because even if it was ruled down by contact, did you see enough evidence if that would have then been a Corey Chamberlain challenge? And I wouldn't. Again, the evidence is what it is. It's tough to see. And the only reason I say that is because when you see Hugh Charles go down, it's blocking the view to the football. So in order to say that he still had it with his knee down, you'd almost have to be guessing that it was in his possession without actually seeing that. And you can't do that as a review official. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is one of the longer challenges, as you could tell, and exactly as you mentioned, Glenn, it's a kind of a guessing game.
Well, you can't guess. I mean, if you can't see it, if the video review cannot show it or an angle cannot show it, because it could very well have been loose in front of him.
The only camera would be one of those credit card cameras that were actually in the turf that would look up, because we're not. Or if he had a camera on his body, and we don't have that technology quite yet.
Not yet.
Here's the
After
verdict.
Review. Ball carrier was down by contact. The Edmonton ball.
See, and I think that in order to make this call and overturn it, they have to almost guess that it was in his possession without actually really seeing it. Again, watch, slow it down real slow, guys. He's blocking the view to the football here. So the knee's down. Do we know if the ball's out now or not? You can't see it there, and you can't see it as it goes down even more. And the ruling on the play was a fumble. So there was almost an assumption made, it looks to me like, on that play.
The assumption perhaps that Anderson had been able to extricate it later. Well, they go right back to Hugh Charles and the power sweep, and he's stopped for a loss.
I know Edmonton fans won't agree with that assessment, but I just call it the way I see it, folks.
Former teammate Weldon Brown knocking him out of bounds. Harry Joseph into the game. So now 3rd down and 4, so Saskatchewan will get it back nonetheless.
Well, but it's a huge ruling because it still allows Edmonton to punt. I mean, the Riders get the stop anyway, but the Edmonton Eskimos get this field position depending on the return here.
Again, Grant Shaw giving way on the field goal duties to Hugh O'Neill, recently acquired. You could see it float into the wind. Weston Dressler comes forward. A 15-yard, no yards call. Saskatchewan will scrimmage near the 45 when we come back. 10-6 Edmonton. Craft Celebration Tour continues. Sports Center on the road again. Stop 9 tonight. Kate Burness, Rod Smith in Wilmot, Ontario, Waterloo region. Live coverage underway 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on TSN. So Weston Dressler alertly stepped up, fielded that punt on the fly, forcing a 15-yard, no yards call. 1st and 10 from the 40 for the Roughriders. They trail by 4. Just over 6 to go before halftime. Corey Sheets is brought down by Marcus Howard, who spied that perfectly.
He's got a couple sacks on the year, but think it's fair to say that Marcus Howard has underachieved a little bit. I mean, there was such high expectations after his big season, his debut season for the Edmonton Eskimos, and he had some injury issues and has had a slow start. I think people expected a big, fast start from him. He's healthy, he's ready to go. It's a big play for a loss.
2nd and 14. Durant has to dance, gets away, throws, and the catch made by Chris Getzlaf. Tightrope down the sideline. And another one of the great safety valves on 2nd down for Darian Durant is number 89, Chris Getzlaf. His first catch is a huge one.
Pretty good movement from Darian Durant here, because Marcus Howard, just mentioned, just a straight bull rush off the edge here to force Darian Durant to pull it down. He actually had to take the football out of his passing hand quickly and then put it back in that hand, find Chris Getzlaf on the sideline.
Now in the territory where they would have had the football, had that fumble recovery stood. Sheets now behind some blocking again. TJ Hill, the tackle. 4-yard gain for Sheets.
I'm seeing a lot more of what I talked to G. Roy Simon about. Maybe the reason again that he hasn't caught that next catch that could get him to 16,000, because he's in on the protection again. So because he understands all the blocking schemes, George Cortez trusts him to pick up the right man. Fortunately, it takes the best receiver, or one of them of all time, and makes him a blocker.
Maybe this time, 2nd and 6. Durant, far side. And again to Getzlaf. See where they spot the football. They'll move the yardsticks again. Another first down. Back to back, Chris Getzlaf.
I thought Chris Getzlaf was going to have a big afternoon. He's coming off a good one, and just matchup-wise, if he gets on TJ Hill a bunch. Now, TJ Hill is a great football player, but he's a little different size-wise. TJ Hill only at 5'9", and Getzlaf up there at around 6'1", 6'2".
Sheets. Hammered right there. Ted Laurent. Couple of yards for Corey Sheets. He has, for the most part, been 100 yards plus in almost every game except the last game against the Montreal Alouettes. It all started against Edmonton, 131 on opening night. .42 today. But again, his big numbers usually reserved for the second half. Durant changes the call now. 2nd and 8. Durant is crushed. Armando Sewell. Darian Durant sacked again.
Lines up initially right over top of Dominic Picard. Takes on the double team and wins between Chris Best, who is banged up a little bit this week, and Dominic Picard, but he just splits him.
So Chris Milo with the wind. 43-yard kick here, and again, Chris Milo keeps his streak going. 3 for 3 today, 19 for 19 on the season. Armando Sewell, the latest sack. Nissan, this is our league, and if you've never seen this before, you're watching in the United States. The Rider Nation invasion is a common occurrence.
In Alberta.
It is, neighboring province. You don't have to come far.
It actually happens in stadiums Manitoba across the country, but it seems to be Alberta. They are here in force, but a good Edmonton crowd, and Edmonton fans here were encouraged to wear gold.
Well, even Mike Riley was saying that he doesn't like seeing those green and whites. He wants to see green and gold. Riley behind protection, looking for Kerry Koch, and he can't run underneath it.
I asked Kerry Koch just before kickoff how he's liked working in tandem with Fred Stamps, and he had this big smile from ear to ear. He said, yeah, it's been working out pretty good. His last 3 games, Kerry Cooks had 19 catches, 238 yards, and I asked him, well, how much are you actually together? He says, well, it can be wide field or it can be into the boundary, but we're together about 80-85% of the offensive snaps. It's paying off.
Riley, far side for Stamps, trying to turn. Clock ticking towards 2 minutes to go here in this first half.
Important drive here, though, for Darian Durant. Come out, try to get some traction for his offense. I've been looking up and down the Edmonton Eskimo bench and haven't seen Odell Willis for a series or 2. May not have to face the Edmonton rush end.
Grant Shaw, Eskimos now with 2 homegrown kickers, both playing today. This is an enormous boot. Dressler trying to get the outside, gets a couple blocks and gets something when it looked like he would have had nothing. Nice return by Weston Dressler. Very similar to the return that he had against Montreal. 27-yard return. We're 152 away from GMC Live at the half with the boys. Dave Randorf, Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz, and Milt Stiegel. Paul LaPolice has the coach's playbook. He'll talk about the Eskimos D today, which is getting an A. And they'll also have the coin toss coming up at halftime. They'll talk about that earlier game today. Hamilton moving to 4-4. 1-point game. 2-minute offense for Darian Durant. He's going deep. He's got Getzlaf again, and Getzlaf is knocked out of bounds. Another big play. Number 4 to number 89, this time for 35.
Brendan Labatt's going to come out and block for this, and there's no pressure on Durant at all. That's why Getzlaf can just run his route without any contact down the line of scrimmage. He gets in behind all the coverage. Durant had all day to throw that one.
Right down in scoring position now, certainly within range for Chris Milo. Riders trying to find the end zone, though. Durant buys some time, goes the other way, and guess who? About 6 yards, this time converged upon by Chris Thompson. It's the strength of the Roughriders this season, though, their receiving core. Getzlaf and Dressler. Think about this. They've been moving the football, 1-point game, and we still have not seen a catch, even a pass thrown to Geroy Simon.
I would say at least half the time I've seen him in passing situations in there for protection purposes. Not this time.
A minute and a half to go before halftime. Durant play action. Out of the backfield, Neil Hughes, but another Saskatchewan first down. Neil Hughes getting back in the lineup. Just the early part of the season. One of the Regina products.
And out into the flat. Tough to track for the linebackers because he hides behind the line of scrimmage. TJ Hill gets a little bit of a hip check there from Chris Getzlaf. You see that? That was a subtle little rub. You just... little hockey hip check as TJ Hill couldn't get around that.
Getting close to the red zone. 20 yards and in. Durant rushes on, throws it up. And nobody around him. Just had to throw that away as TJ Hill was bearing in on him.
Well, the Eskimos have had to go into some blitz here because no Odell Willis in the lineup for 2 straight series, and Darian Durant's had more time in the pocket because of it. He's been their best defensive lineman. He's not out there now. Wasn't last series either. So Greg Marshall, their defensive coordinator, is going with a little more pressure. Plus where they are in the field, you often see more blitz down inside the 20.
Critical second down for both teams here. Could name the difference between a field goal attempt and going for the end zone. Durant wings it out, and It is caught by Scott McHenry. He tries to lunge forward. McHenry back in the lineup, had a shoulder injury, was on the 9-game injury list, but they were granted an exemption, and he was back in the lineup. Again, Rob Bagg out of the lineup. How about Rob Bagg's story? Last week, a lot of people thought that Rob Bagg suffered another devastating knee injury, in fact, a sprained knee, so I'm sure he's watching, and I know the rest of the CFL is relieved with that news.
Well, I talked to some of the Rider staff yesterday, and it sounds like it's actually very good news that he may even practice next week. A couple more tests and may go back to work next week, and that's great news for Rob.
Chris Milo, and again he's put it through. 20 for 20, and the familiar glance to the sky.
Got a real good description on exactly what happened, sort of. I'm not a doctor, certainly, but I got a good description as to what happened when Rob Bagg tweaked it against Montreal last week, and he didn't have a lot of pressure. It just kind of collapsed on him, and obviously great concern. He went off very emotional as he went to the bench, and then was running the very next day, running stairs in the stadium. He's done some tests in the training room. Talking to some of the staff for the Riders, they said that they're real optimistic with a couple more tests that he'll be able to go back to practice next week, and we may be able to see him in the game next weekend.
Riders with the lead now, 12-10. Rob Bagg, both knees surgically repaired, ACL injuries the last couple of years. Mike Riley calls his own number. Riley will not go down and finally tumbles down about a yard and a half shy. He's got some time to put this in field goal position so that the Eskimos could give it a try to take the lead before halftime. 30 seconds to go, 8-yard pickup.
I'm convinced Mike Riley won't hook slide until they win a game.
Five receivers. They hand it off. They don't. Riley takes it himself. Great play action. Fooled everybody, including the Roughriders, right into Saskatchewan territory. This was a great pullback by Mike Riley.
Well, and now if he's real efficient here, he might get a shot at the end zone. It's about 20 yards on this play. Work the sideline. May get a shot at the end zone, one shot, and then line up the field goal team. But they're still out of field goal range at this point. Need about another 20, 15 yards.
That's what he's looking for now. Riley over the top, could be picked. It is Tyrone Brackenridge. Errant toss by Mike Riley, tried to force one over the top. It wasn't even close to the intended target. And Mike Riley's thrown his first pick in 3 games. Tyrone Brackenridge.
Just ball placement from Mike Riley. He needed to throw that out in front of, I believe it was Marcus Henry trying to run it down on the layers just at the top left of your screen. That's Tyrone Brackenridge. And instead of leading him out in front and letting him run to it, he put it over the opposite shoulder, over top of his head. Any overthrown football at this level, very good chance it's coming back the other way.
Tyrone Brackenridge with his second pick. Interesting game so far, though. The Roughriders in their vaunted offense have not scored a touchdown, but they haven't needed it because Chris Milo's been perfect so far this season and perfect today. Milo 12, the Eskimos 10. The last time these two teams met on opening night, the Riders led 22-1 at the half. Different story this time, just a 2-point game. Here's Darcy Seaton with Edmonton head coach Kavis Reed.
Well, Coach, considering what the Riders can do to teams in the CFL, are you satisfied being within 2 points at the half?
We're pleased with how we were playing. We could have done better, but we're very pleased with the way our team has responded and the execution level we're at thus far.
Odell Willis sat out a few sequences. Can you tell us his condition right now?
Yeah, we're still assessing him. He has got a little bit of a upper body injury, but we're still assessing him. He's not out for the game yet. If we need him, we'll probably reinsert him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, he is a guy, Glenn Suter, that you need.
Well, his last 2 games have been his best 2, and he's still in the locker room being assessed. And when he wasn't on the field, the Riders put together 2 good drives. A 34-yarder ended in a field goal, and a 53-yarder that ended in a field goal. So 87 yards of offense for Saskatchewan without Odell Willis on the field. We'll see if he does return later. We'll keep our eyes open for that.
We'll see how these numbers trend out. You saw the 0-5 Edmonton when trailing at the half. Saskatchewan, when leading at the half this season, 5-0. Very close one here today. Perfect conditions in Edmonton. Shortish kick at the 20 Diamond Ferry, picking his way up near the 40-yard line. Good field position to start for Darian Durant and the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense.
Completed over 80% of his passes in the first half. 175 yards throwing the football. Had a nice 37-yarder real early on to Weston Dressler. Beyond that, though, not a lot of plays down the field. One also to Chris Getzlaff. There's the numbers for Corey Sheets after a half of football. But as I mentioned, it's usually the second half that Sheets really starts to pick up momentum. 53 yards in the first and 4 nice catches for Chris Getzlaff.
Picks up momentum and wears defenses down. Here he goes. First touch, second half, and does a lot of that. Here's another one for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as you look at numbers and how they may trend out. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have demolished the opposition in third quarters coming out of locker rooms. In fact, defensively, have not given up an offensive touchdown in a third quarter this season.
Something tells me that the Edmonton Eskimos offensively know that as well.
Yes. And they talked about it, chatting with some coaches before the game. They knew that they'll have to put the stops on like this in the third quarter. And Corey Sheets barrels forward.
It's been an interesting spot. Just shy of the 50, the Saskatchewan 50. It's close enough they're going to have to bring in the chains and measure it. Short yardage, never a guarantee. Although you would think at midfield, Corey Chamberlain would go ahead and send in his big team and Drew Willie, even if they're a few inches short here.
They are a few inches short. So call on number 5, Darian Durant, will come off. Chatting with Darian last week, talked about his ankle and how it still is bugging him. Missed a game with a sprained ankle, and he says that every time he pushes off on it, it still is painful, and he said he's probably going to have to play with that pain all season long.
Yeah, and be the off season before that completely heals, and they'll just have to manage it. Hope it comes around when they get a little bit longer breaks between games.
3rd and inches. Drew Willie's just going to go forward here. And he is pushed back, but again, only a few inches. Basically just have to fall forward.
Up easy, guys.
And that will move the sticks.
Is it possible? I'm not sure if the viewer heard the official say, up easy, boys. I wonder if it's possible to get up easy when you got all those offensive defensive linemen in there.
Yeah, you get up easy.
Bottom of
350 pounds.
The bottom of a pile, there is no up easy or down easy or around easy. It's full out war down there.
Yes, sir, Mr. Referee. 1st and 10, go the Roughriders again. Early third quarter, they lead by 2. Leading 2 of the season. Slinging it in is Durant to Taj Smith over the 40-yard line. Another big play here from the Roughriders and their big play offense.
This is a type of play that every offense basically runs, with one receiver going out to the flat and the other one just kind of coming in and running that curl. And if you're playing zone against it, you're hoping that 2 players will take one, which happens here as both the Edmonton Eskimo defenders go to number 81. Taj Smith is open on the curl route. Every team in the league runs that real basic route.
Product of Syracuse University, Taj Smith has made immediate impact upon coming to Saskatchewan. Corey Sheets again, right side. Corralled there nicely.
We could talk with Corey Sheets yesterday, and I said, what's the difference between your off seasons this year and your off seasons last year when it came to your training? And how did you prepare differently this year? He said it was really quite simple. I cut out all the partying, and I cut out all the stuff that's bad for me.
He told me, he said, I was a little pudgy.
Yeah, he said, I ate properly. All I was about was football, trying to train for football. I knew I had a starting job, and that helped. And he said, boy, what a world of difference.
Sheets time again. And again, close to a first down. I wonder if the weighted vest also helped. That was part of the training.
Yeah, and that's part of once you get into the weight training and all the different techniques and the core training and things like that. But just the basics of eating better and cutting out all the partying. Maybe something we could all take a little advice on.
Maybe not.
Yeah, well, everything in moderation. We'll cut out the partying in moderation. But hey, is he off to a great start or what? I mean, just...
Here's another case, though, where he is short of a first down. Again, third and maybe less than a yard. And again, Corey Chamberlain elects to go with the hot foot of Chris Milo. 4 of 4.
I like this.
20 of 20 on the season. 36-yarder. This kick is up, and, of course, automatic. 5 for 5 today is Chris Milo. 21 of 21 on the season. That guy will be watching tomorrow live from Brooklyn. There's no sleep till the 2013 MTV Video Music Awards with performances by Robin Thicke, Miley Cyrus, Kanye West, Justin Timberlake, and more. Lady Gaga kicks off the VMAs tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on MTV. And there is Guy Gaga in green. VMAs tomorrow night. 15-10 Saskatchewan, all Chris Milo field goals so far.
Take a look at the leaders in the first half for the Edmonton Eskimos. Mike Riley just shy of 100 yards passing. Had the one interception that was right in the dying seconds of the first half on an overthrow. Tyrone Brackenridge got him there. Hugh Charles a little bit more involved with the running game. 43 yards rushing here tonight. He had 27 yards rushing last week versus Toronto, so more touches for Hugh Charles.
Saw Marcus Henry make that last reception. Riley calls his own number. First down and more. Head first. Again, no hook slide. Couldn't that time as he was wrapped up around the ankles. Mike Riley, one thing about him, he will run the football. He says himself, it may not look pretty, but it's effective.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he told us that like week one. He said, don't let this out of the bag, but there's the play action that takes Sholigan, and then he just fakes there and goes right behind him. He said, I look a little wonky when I run, but it's effective.
Hey, no kidding.
And that was him talking.
Close to the stripe, and there he goes again. Tucks it, takes it, and goes forward.
But I love his toughness in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
fearless.
Yeah, and Mike Riley has taken some big hits over the last 3-4 weeks, and even Kevis Reed has pulled him aside and said, look, there are times when once you have first down yardage, just a hook slide, and we understand that you're tough, and we love that, and that rallies your teammates, but you don't have to take unnecessary hits. Don't take too many. And you know what his answer to that is? Till we win, I'm going after it. And you got to admire that.
2nd and 4. Riley steps back, pulls the trigger, and his security blanket. Fred Stamps with his 7th catch of the afternoon, and it moves the chains.
Trying to get Riley right now, Rod, to just start to call plays on the line of scrimmage, and this is something that Kerry Joseph told me a week ago, that they're trying to work more and more into their offensive plan. They feel like it can simplify the defense they see in front of them, but it also gets Riley in a comfort zone.
There's the rush again. Good protection for Riley. Over the top for Marcus Henry. Has it and more. Henry slips down the sideline. And Marcus Henry has one of the biggest plays for the Eskimos today.
You got to love Marcus Henry's courage here, because Tyrone Brackenridge had a bullseye between the 8 and the 9, and he was coming downhill as that ball hung up in there. And Henry waited on it, and he waited on it. Here comes Brackenridge from the right, just grazes him.
Little teardrop pass. Late substitutions here. Eskimos struggling to get this play off. 4 seconds on the play clock. They hand it off inside, and there was nothing going right with that play from the get-go as Hugh Charles was brought down by Tyrone Brackenridge. Again, miscommunication to the sideline. They didn't get their players in on time, and generally when that happens, this happens.
Defensive Player of the Week, number 41, Tyrone Brackenridge. Just steps up, and look at the white shirts. surrounding Fred Stamps there. He wasn't getting out of that jail.
Loss of 8, 2nd and 18. Mike Riley will take it to the air. He's 11 of 17 for 141. Four-man rush. Looks one way, then the other. Goes to the end zone. And it's a touchdown again. Guess who? Fred Stamps. What a bullet from Mike Riley.
Great patience from the Edmonton quarterback. He looks to the play side, doesn't like it. This shows you his progression and just how he improves game in, game out. Didn't like what he saw to the play side, knew his backside route to the middle was number 2. Always a good chance you throw it to him.
Fred Stamps does it again. 2 on the day, 6 on the season, and 112 yards in the game. And once again, Mike Riley has led his team into the lead. 17-15 Edmonton.
Go back to the touchdown. Here's Fred Stamps. Well, I want to show you the progression first for Mike Riley. Mike Riley wants to go to the right side of the formation. Go ahead and run it, guys. Right side of the formation. Now hold it there. His first option is Hugh Charles. Kerry Koch is number 2. The underneath is number 3. That is Fred Stamps at the number 4 spot. He's going to end up coming over the middle here, that deep crosser, and it's the 4th receiver in the progression for Mike Riley. He throws a dart in there. Touchdown, Edmonton Eskimos. Mike Riley's coming on.
(17-15) Edmonton now, midway through this third quarter. Saskatchewan's turn. Again, Diamond Ferry, and again, no Jock Sanders for the Roughriders this week because of an injury, but also last week dropped a couple on returns. Fred Stamps finds the end zone. That's his house. In his house in Edmonton, in front of a full house today at Commonwealth. Geroy Simon, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Simon probably says, give me the football. He hasn't had a catch yet today. Has had a catch in 177 straight games. I would imagine that streak will continue. They have not had him involved. Keep in mind, though, he's been used in a few blocking schemes. The Roughriders just surrendered their first touchdown in 8 games in the third quarter this season. Back to Corey Sheets. They pound the ground again.
And talk about, I haven't seen again in another series defensively for Odell Willis returning to the lineup. Now that's not necessarily put the Edmonton Eskimos in a terrible situation when it comes to stopping Corey Sheets and run stopping. Odell Willis is a specialist, and his specialty is getting after the quarterback.
Again, the #1 team in the CFL on second down conversion. Darian Durant's Riders. There he goes, far side for Taj Smith. Again, another first down. Unfazed, unflappable. Darian Durant does it again.
Which is what he did last week. I mean, it wasn't his best performance, and it was a performance that was a little bumpy at times. And yet he just stayed, kept his calm. He's been through the battles before, showing a lot of his maturity there and his poise. And then when Taj Smith got in behind coverage inside of a minute, put the Riders up.
1st and 10, the Riders from their 50-yard line. Quick hitter, Geroy Simon, 16,000 yards and counting. Finally, Geroy Simon keeps his catch streak alive. This one takes him over the 16,000-yard barrier.
And keeps his consecutive catch per game streak alive at 178 games.
Superman does it again. All-time pro football receivers, Jerry Rice, who
will
never be caught. But Geroy Simon, all-time receiving yardage leader, 1,001 reception in his career. Taj Smith, great moves here. Shake and bake after the catch. inside the 30-yard line. The Riders on the move here, and Tar Smith may have got nicked up.
A little slow getting up. Some nice yards after the catch here from Todd Smith. Nothing fancy about the route. He's just going to run a little quick slant. Ball's put out there so he can brace himself for any contact and then make a couple of moves. Didn't see how he hurt himself. He stays in there.
1st and 10 again for the Roughriders. Have not scored a touchdown in this game. Corey Sheets, though, eyes the end zone, spins down inside the 10-yard line. Second half, Corey Sheets picks up 18.
Brendan Labatt is back at that familiar guard position, and he's going to go here, take that out. Watch Xavier Fulton the opposite direction. All-Stars, Brendan Labatt, Xavier Fulton. Kick out block there on the pull, and a gaping hole. Corey Sheets.
Inside the red zone, Corey Sheets at 84 in the game. Here he goes again. There he goes to the end zone. Touchdown! And he boots it up into the crowd. Corey Sheets does it again.
Well, if it's eating right and quitting partying, let Rider Nation party. Corey Sheets, you just keep running the ball like this because it is pretty to watch. What a great cut right there on Damaso Munoz. Munoz had him lined up in the sights for about a 1 or 2 yard gain, and Sheets made a tremendous cut inside and then pushed it himself back into the end zone.
Corey Sheets on pace to smash the CFL record. Mike Pringle's 2065. Still has a lot of season left, but he is now over 1,000 yards. And we're not even at the halfway point of the season. Into his 8th game, Corey Sheets' 5th major. Made it look easy again. The record-setting feats of Corey Sheets.
One guy in the Edmonton defense on that touchdown had a chance to get him. Damaso Munoz is going to work his way around this. So, hey, watch the move that Corey Sheets puts on him as he steps up in the field now. He's got a crack at him right here for about a 1 yard gain. Top tackling linebacker for the Edmonton Eskimos, and Sheets just cuts inside, makes Munoz bubble around players standing around and getting blocked, and he can't get there.
Corey Sheets having a season for the ages. Hugh Charles now fighting the near sideline. Little shake there up near the 30-yard line for Hugh Charles. Nice return on a good kick from the Roughriders.
All day, every day, we're gonna get this win. We're gonna go. Let's go, baby. My man Ty set me up.
There he is at the 1K mark.
And we're not at Labor Day, and Corey Sheets has 1,000 yards.
Fastest ever to Corey's 1,012, fastest ever to 1,000 yards on a season. One of the reasons why the Roughriders are on top of the CFL West. Hugh Charles, gang tackled there.
Brackenridge stepped in on a big tackle there. He was looking like he was going to play safety, and he just kept moving forward. They rotated. He rotated Brackenridge up and moved Craig Butler back, and he stepped right in the hole. 3rd tackle of the game for Tyrone Brackenridge.
Number of lead changes already. Saskatchewan ahead by 5 now. We'll see how Mike Riley answers. 5 lead changes in the game. 5 receivers set. Riley goes deep for Henry again. Marcus Henry, did you do that? What a catch.
Yep, he did it.
There is a sensational grab from Marcus Henry and a pinpoint pass from Mike Riley.
Puts it up over the top and lets the 6'5" Marcus Henry use his size. And I think it was just one arm.
It was one-handed Marcus Henry. Watch this. You'll see it tonight as well on SportsCenter as he grabs it in at the end. So the Eskimos again on the move, sideline, and They're saying it's a catch, Kerry Coke. For a second, it looked out of bounds. Tiptoes the sideline inside the red zone.
He looked in control of it, and then he had his foot down. And this is a read route for Kerry Coke. He comes up, he recognizes the coverage, so he just pulls out of his route and comes back to help out his quarterback and has that toe.
Whoa, by the slimmest of margins. What a catch. Back-to-back highlight reel catches for the Eskimos. Motion in the backfield now. They sniff the end zone. Riley, touchdown, Kerry Coke.
What an answer.
Touché.
Mike Riley got up slow. Took another hit.
That was a resounding reply from the Edmonton Eskimos quarterback.
John Chick planted him, but he'll take the hit to deliver it to his receiver. Touchdown Edmonton, an answer to the Corey Sheets touchdown. As we go back and forth.
Punch, counter punch here. Terrific ball game. Inside the final minute of the third quarter. And now, blood runs hot down there. Some fists were thrown. Don't see any flags yet. And big Matt O'Donnell in the middle of it. You know what? I don't think you want to mess with Matt O'Donnell, Dwight Anderson. You're a good trash talker, but that guy's 7 feet.
Show you John Chick here. I believe he's working on Thaddeus Coleman. And Coleman just can't choose between which guy to take. He lets Chick go free, and that one hurt Mike Riley.
The Louisiana Flyer, Kerry Coke, out of Baton Rouge, played his college ball at Virginia. He's going to be 27 in a few days. Nice way for a guy to celebrate an upcoming birthday. What a drive, a couple of clutch catches by Coke.
And the big one from Marcus Henry. And keep our eye on Mike Riley there. He's still trying to shake off the effects of that John Chick hit.
Diamond Ferry again, helmet down and brought down.
Let's go back and take a look at Kerry Coke and his route again. Look what he's working with. When you've got number 2 beside you, you know the defense is going to take a lot of time to be watching where Fred Stamps goes. So Kerry Coke comes underneath. Both defenders for Saskatchewan take Fred Stamps. That was Terrell Mays up at the top, I believe Prince Miller, and Kerry Coke is allowed to go straight underneath, untouched and uncovered.
We'll have to monitor this, though. Mike Riley, third quarter numbers, outstanding. That's just the third quarter. 7 for 7 for 141, and Chris Schultz talked about it. He might not get 500 today, but he's inching closer to 300. Now Durant tries to answer, and he does here. First catch made by Chris Getzlaff. Welcome to the firing squad here today. Both quarterbacks, great precision. Coming up to the final play of this third quarter. And it can't be said, it hasn't been said all season. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have not lost a third quarter. They're about to lose this one. See how it plays out. Last play. Third frame. Sheets backfield behind Durant. Pulls it back and goes sideline, and Taj Smith wanted an interference call as Joe Burnett was pressing on him a couple of blocks and knocked him out of bounds. An overthrow. So that's 3 quarters down. 1 quarter to play here at Commonwealth Stadium in front of 41,000 plus. What a game. The Eskimos lead by 2. One of the most entertaining third quarters we've seen this season. Edmonton Eskimos have not scored a lot in third quarters. The Roughriders have not given up many points in third quarters. That trend was completely blown out of the water.
Well, it was 12-10 Saskatchewan at the half, and all of a sudden a shootout broke out.
Yes.
We watched both these offenses go back and forth. A good answer from Mike Riley after Corey Sheets punched one in. A nice drive from Darian Durant where he used Tosh Smith, and then Mike Riley, who's thrown for 141 yards in that quarter alone, had 2 touchdown passes in the second half. So we'll just see if he can shake off that hit that he took from John Chick.
7 of 7 for Riley as he warms up a little bit here. But this Edmonton Eskimo team we've seen the last 3 weeks. Riley threw for 822 yards over the last 2 games, 500 plus last game. They can put it in the air. The key now is try to stop Darian Durant and the Roughriders, because guess what? He can do it too. Fourth quarter underway. Here's the rush. Durant's in trouble. Now he escapes. He's flushed out. Durant's going to have to let it fly, and he does. And Tosh Smith coming back to the football could not pick it up. Darian Durant chased down by free safety Donovan Alexander.
Well, the pressure came from Alexander, who stepped from the safety spot right up in the line of scrimmage, and he came and provided pressure. That's what flushed Darian Durant in the first place, and he ran out of room and receivers.
Ted Laurent getting worked on the sideline. Went out Roughriders. Spiraling kick. Saskatchewan has the win, fourth quarter. Perry Cope now, and he is toppled. The hitman Craig Butler downfield quickly. So too Greg Newman. And Mike Riley is back at the helm.
He just keeps getting back up. I mean, had that Versa sack elbow issue on his passing arm in BC a few weeks back. Got pounded last week against Toronto. Multiple hits in that game. Just kept getting back up, brushing himself off. Seems to get to put this gear back together, stretch out that arm again, and okay, let's get back in action.
Riley's been the guy in BC the last couple of seasons, playing behind Travis Lulay. Now this is his team. Hugh Charles hangs on to it, runs behind cover, and then eventually is tackled for half the first down yardage. But the progression and development, quick development of Mike Riley, you can't help but compare him to what Travis Lulay did in BC, the guy he used to work under.
Well, I remember Lulay started 0-5 with the BC Lions when he first got the reins in Vancouver, and over the last 3 weeks, Mike Riley has been statistically the best quarterback in the league. He's over 1,000 yards in the last 3 weeks and 6 touchdown passes.
Riley fires it one-handed again. Kerry Cope. And he's going to be shy of the first down. Well, we've seen some circus catches, and Mike Riley gets up again. There is a penalty flag in the backfield, and Diamond Ferry is going to be penalized here.
Oh boy, second bad penalty.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 22. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Second bad penalty for Diamond Ferry in this game. And I think it was a low hit, or going low anyway, on the quarterback as he went down low. You just cannot, you have to stay off the legs of the quarterback. He should know better than that. He keeps the drive alive for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Now the penalty results in a first down. Here's a pitch. Charles now, foot race. Craig Butler with him. And Hugh Charles puts his helmet into Prince Miller on the sidelines, very close to a first down. A play call that, you know, you used to see 30 years ago, almost every second play, the pitch.
Yeah.
You don't see much anymore.
I like it. The old toss right sweep used to call back in the good old days, and that was a good foot race there between Hugh Charles and Craig Butler.
It is a first down again. Eskimos early in this fourth quarter, leading by 2. Right side now, and Mike Riley. So much for taking some hits. Takes a few more here. Another quarterback scramble. What a warrior this this guy is.
Well, this is a progression of this ride and decide play where he's reading the end and he pulls the ball on Hugh Charles. But instead of running wide with the option to run or throw outside, he takes it right behind Charles, and it's an interior run.
5 carries, averages 10 yards a carry. Hugh Charles on the dump here. Charles met there by Weldon Brown, his former teammate. You know, you talk about Mike Riley and you see that number on his back, and wears 13 for a reason. A lot of athletes used to be superstitious. Obviously, Anthony Calvillo wasn't either.
Nope.
Nor was Dan Marino, who was Mike Riley's hero growing up. Models a complete game behind Dan Marino. Now he is flushed out. Can't find anybody. Tucks it and then will go forward. And again, forget the hook slide. This is not even in the guy's repertoire. Another Edmonton first down.
Saw that first down marker and just took off, and he is just trying to get it all back together again. One more time walking back to the huddle. This was designed to go down the field. Didn't like the coverage or the pressure in front of him, and once he saw that open edge, he just took it, dove for first down territory. Shamon Chambers got a bit of a block for him right near that sideline.
I would imagine that Mike Riley might be the first one into the ice bath after this game. You can still see he's kind of grimacing there, but he is not coming out of this ball game. Well, he's down. And it looks like he's going to have to.
Well, he's run for more yards in this game than any game of the regular season, and the ground game for the Edmonton Eskimos. Those are the last 3 games. So with Mike Riley chipping in with over 60 yards here tonight, or this afternoon, they have 117 yards rushing as a team now. Best in the last 3 weeks.
Riley stays in. It was only for some water that came out in the field, so he isn't hurt. 1st and 10 from the 35. Protection again for Riley. Fires. Unable to lay out for it was Hugh Charles. First incompletion of this 3rd quarter. And in the second half has not thrown an incompletion until that one.
Ray Williams is the guy here. It was the touchdown throw to Kerry Koch. It was John Chick. Ray Williams delayed blitz.
Edmonton.
Again, Mike Riley takes another lick here. And Edmonton decides to take a timeout. This might be for a breather as well, just to catch his breath. Eskimos riding a lot of momentum here.
Remember the original Rocky? You know, when he kept getting knocked down and everybody was looking at him. He was knocked down on the ground, and everyone looked at him, and they thought, no way, he's not getting up again, is he? And they kind of brush him off, and he'd get to one knee, and then he kind of put an arm around the rope, and then he'd pull himself up the ropes.
Yo, Adrian.
And then he'd stand there and look at. And then he'd wave in like, let's go again. I'm getting that image from 13 here.
They cut his eyes.
He had to cut. Yeah.
Don't cut me, Mick.
Cut me, Mick.
Yeah. 17 saw the pressures there. The hurries. Now Riley's in trouble. Look at this. Dodges one. In trouble. Throws. Is hit again. Down the sideline for Shamon Chambers. And this time, Riley again slow to get up.
Oh, he got up again. John Chick again.
Yo, Riley.
It starts to get at you a little bit defensively when you're putting everything you have on the quarterback, whether he's throwing it or not. You're making these hits, and you start to wonder,
will he ever go down and out? So Hugh O'Neill made good on his first field goal attempt. That was early in the first quarter. Here is his second. Again, the former BC Lion, but he grew up in these parts. University of Alberta Golden Bear from the 42. This kick is up, and it is good. Squeezes it through. Hugh O'Neill, the bearded one. 27-22 Eskimos, and in the 4th quarter, It usually has been this guy for the Roughriders. They need him, and they need some points. They trail.
Guess who comes over and makes sure his quarterback is hydrated? Fred Stabs, his first guy over there with a water bottle. Hey, 13, just stay in this one with me, and handed him the water bottle.
He's his corner man.
Yeah, he's his corner man.
Darian Durant fires to Taj Smith. Cuts back now. Chris Thompson covering him, but again, Darian Durant has another reply.
Yeah.
16-yard gain.
And that's what I was going to say. As well as we've seen Mike Riley play in the second half, Darian Durant has quietly put up more numbers. 251 yards passing before that throw to Taj Smith, to the 240 at that point for Mike Riley. So Darian Durant completing 80% of his passes and more yardage than Mike Riley.
Playing from behind, Weston Dressler kicks it outside. First down, knocked out of bounds. Another first down. And you can see how explosive this Saskatchewan Roughrider offense. There's a reason that they are #1 in the CFL in so many categories.
Well, it starts up front, that's for sure. But when you have this many targets, then it's tough to try to roll your coverage one way or the other. You want to take away Weston Dressler, you leave Getzlaff open. He had a big second quarter. They've taken Getzlaff a little bit away in this second half. Dressler becomes more important, and Corey Sheets.
First and 10 from the 45. A quick hitter. Dressler again, and is toppled by his former teammate at the University of North Dakota and with Saskatchewan, Donovan Alexander. They played together with the Fighting Sioux. Here's some bad news for the Edmonton Eskimos.
That's Odell Willis, and so he's gone for the rest of this game. Darian Durant, since his departure, has had more time to throw the ball in the pocket. One of the reasons those numbers are starting to accumulate a little bit for him as well. Closing in on 300.
Darian Durant, hands off again. Sheets has some room inside the 20-yard line. You know, you go back to last week, and Saskatchewan will admit, you know, wasn't the best of games. It was winning ugly, but they still got the win. And Darian Durant showed great composure, even playing from behind, and he has to do it again today.
Well, he is now. He's got confidence in his running game. He's got confidence in his tailback. I watched them walk off at practice together yesterday, and I said, there's the 2 stars of this team, and he says, we're okay, 1-2 punch.
Corey Sheets now over 100 again, 103, add some more. He's looking for the end zone. Sheets is going to score. It's a touchdown.
In style.
Oh my.
In style. Over 100 before that run. Closing in on that average on the year at 131. And chalk up another touchdown. Tremendous blocking gets him through the first gap and outside. Now it's speed, and there you go.
He is having an unbelievable season. And we're not even at the halfway point. They say, you know, the season doesn't really heat up until Labor Day, which is next weekend. Well, Corey Sheets is already red hot. 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Another lead change. Sheets with his second. Holy Sheets indeed. Here in Edmonton. 2-point game again.
Saskatchewan Roughriders love this formation. They break Dan Clark in at tight end. They've got Xavier Fulton at tackle, and then they've got Brendan Labatt. They go big on big as they slide to their left, and watch the hole open up for Corey Sheets. Everyone locked on their man. Sheets now has a seam to get there, and once he gets that kind of space with a downfield block on Rennie Curran, then he uses his speed. A little style at the end. Style points.
Such great balance in that Roughrider attack from Sheets to the receivers, and Hugh Charles finds a crease. Hugh Charles jumps one and another and ran out of gas. And might have pulled hamstring, maybe not. There he goes. He just stopped.
Well, it looked like when he jumped, he did feel something and kind of tried to slow down or gear it down a little bit. Offense is going out, and he's not, so something happened when he jumped that first tackle.
It landed awkwardly when he came down. Let's see here, right there. Yep. See,
started limping right away.
Ricky Schmidt with the tag. Great return though from Charles. You'll have to update his progress.
Calvin McCarty comes back in.
Riley again. Pulls it back. Great fake. Fires hard into traffic looking for Kerry Koch, but coverage was just too good.
Dwight Anderson.
The DA, as he calls himself. Prosecutor. Doesn't let anybody get away with anything. Dwight Anderson.
Has been quiet since that first week when he had some issues here in Edmonton and talked to his head coach, and they decided on how he would handle that.
Riley. Shamon Chambers. Second catch. Down the sidelines. Markham, Ontario native. Former Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawk. Huge play.
If Rod doesn't make the catch last week, I don't think he makes this play, because this play requires confidence once you have the ball. He comes in behind the pick, and then he's out in the open. Now, does he have the confidence to break this tackle by Dwight Anderson if he doesn't make that catch last week?
Riley pump and go. Jump ball. What a catch by Kerry Koch. Out of bounds at the 1 yard line, and another incredible grab. Welcome to the Canadian Air Show here today.
Lone receiver on the backside. They put Kerry Koch all by himself, short side of the field. He gets a one-on-one on Macho Harris, and just outstanding contested catch.
Along the sideline, down, 1st and goal inside the 2 yard line. Kerry Koch. And is out of bounds before he hits that pylon. So, down in tight, that means Kerry Joseph comes in. Twin backs with Calvin McCarty. Fumble football. Joseph has to pounce on it.
They're going to bring Mike Riley back in now when they're on the 5 yard line. They didn't do this a couple of games ago here at Commonwealth. They got their touchdown but needed the 2-point convert in that game as well, and didn't get it when they were on the 5. So with this fumble and mishandling of the snap, Kerry Joseph will come out. Mike Riley comes back in on a passing situation. And Riley, by the way, is over 300 yards passing again.
Over 1,000 yards in his last 3 games. Huge play here. Under 6 to go. 2nd and goal. Riley over the top. It is picked off. Dwight Anderson steals it.
Riley thought there was pass interference. No flags on the field. The interception will stand.
Rider Nation is on its feet. Mike Riley gives one back. Another huge momentum shift.
Well, big play by Dwight Anderson on this interception. Here's the route. Take a look and see if there was any interference, and there wasn't. Dwight Anderson grabs his hip a little bit, does not turn Fred Stamps at all. So no pass interference there. No flag.
New York City, Wolfpack, Roughrider, defense,
Was that a lot of the Eastern Seaboard? Did he get a...
We could have that camera on Dwight all day.
Just lock it off.
He is loquacious. Darian Durant fires again. Weston Dressler, is it a fumble? They're saying it's incomplete.
The official waved immediately.
Joe Burnett was there as Darian Durant threaded the needle again to Weston Dressler.
Put 3 receivers into the short side of the field, and this one looked like it just
never had control.
Bang, bang. I think it's Joe Burnett.
Second down, deep drop. Now the dump off here. Screen pass for Sheets. Corey Sheets rumbling here up near the 50-yard line. We talked about it earlier. Cavis Reed talked about it yesterday. He said the best thing that could happen is that Corey Sheets does not want to play today and stays in the hotel room. Bad news. He didn't.
No, he made it to the field, and his second half has been huge for Saskatchewan. This time he's going to come out of the backfield on a design screen play. You know it's a design by design because you got some big guys up front. Big Brendan Labatt was one of them.
Darian Durant over 300 yards passing. What an aerial display we have been witness to today. Durant, there it is again. Sheets, swing pass, running room. Corey Sheets batters inside the 50-yard line. You know, the Saskatchewan Roughriders added a lot of pieces, winning pieces in terms of players. Let's not forget the coaches.
Yeah, Jason Tucker, former Edmonton Eskimo and Grey Cup champion, also Grey Cup most valuable player in the game that was played in Saskatchewan, as a matter of fact. 2003, Kahari Jones, great career as a quarterback, and something I think should be mandatory on every team, which is a quarterback coach. Not on all teams in the CFL. How about Baron Miles? Second in CFL history in interceptions with 66 in his career and in the champion. Great young coaches on that Saskatchewan staff to work with the players individually. And then you sprinkle in guys like G. Roy Simon and Dwight Anderson. Make big plays down the stretch. That's how they're winning games in the fourth quarter.
And how about you add the orchestra leader in George Cortez?
Yeah, well, and he puts it all together. And I'm not saying they've won this game with 3:44 left. The way it's gone back and forth, we've got lots of football to be played. But coming into this game, when you look at their record at 6-1, this is a team that, with these veterans in place and that coaching staff, great young coaching staff with championship pedigree, that's a little difference to push them over the top. And Kahari Jones working every series with Durant. I think it's crucial. I wrote a blog about it recently, Rod. I'm talking about the quarterback coaches. It's the most difficult position to play in all of sports. There's goalie coaches in the NHL. There's batting coaches. There's golf swing coaches. Some teams don't have quarterback coaches.
Penalty against Saskatchewan brings that ball back to the 51-yard line of the Roughriders, so that play was negated. Now Neil Hughes gets a touch, but he is roaming nowhere.
We didn't see a flag, and they started marching that off. They're saying it was holding, but didn't make an announcement, and that's what brought that play back.
So now it's 2nd and 18 yards. Clock ticks under 3 minutes. Terrific ball game. Seen it all here today. Anybody's ball game right now. Durant now gonna have to go deep. He's in trouble. Escapes again, Darian Durant, and he takes a heavy hit. Punished as he got to the original line of scrimmage, but he gets up quickly. And the Roughriders are going to have to punt it back to the Eskimos. 3-minute warning hits the field, and we'll be back to Commonwealth. "32 long years, long time." The Edmonton Eskimos went 1-7. This dynasty began a few seasons after that. Started to roll away from everyone, but Cavis Reed trying to avoid that right now, trying to pick up win number 2.
Big punt for Ricky Schmidt here. If he can catch the Edmonton Eskimos inside the 10 and in the corner. Back there to return is Kerry Koch, and he's got a real nice return average. In fact, for guys with double figures in returns, he's the best in the league.
This guy, though, has got a rocket foot, and he's done it again. However, goes into the end zone. Koch looks, and he's going to give up one, or is he? And he does, which makes this a 3-point ball game.
I'm not sure why Kerry Koch. I mean, once you're that deep in the end zone, you might as well give it up and save a few seconds on the clock.
Save your body as well.
Yeah, well, and don't risk a fumble being hit, but because the 3 points, I mean, Edmonton now looking for field goal range to tie rather than win, but once that ball left the foot of Ricky Schmidt, the decision was made for Kerry Coke that he's going to have to stay in the end zone. He can't get caught in like the 1 yard line or something like that and make it that long a field for Riley.
Another spectacular outing for Mike Riley despite the picks. Key play in this game so far, that Dwight Anderson interception. Riley calls his own number again, and he takes a heavy hit near the hip from the hit man, Craig Butler.
Yeah, Butler stepped up nicely. He saw that quarterback draw, but Riley got nice success on first down. Manageable situation. You get anything over 5 yards on that first down run, you can throw those quick slants or the hitch passes, and your receivers can pick up the first.
67 yards in rushing. Noise rises up here. Remember, a lot of Roughrider fans among the 41,868. Riley does it again. Mike Riley. Great piece of deception. Good running and another first down. Clock ticks down to 1:38.
This ride in the side is interesting the way he's running it, because usually the fake is here and the quarterback will take it here, but what Riley's doing is going right in behind it here. So Saskatchewan is containing the wide run, but they're opening up an inside lane. So watch Riley here. He goes there. Now instead of going wide because Chick is out there, he's right in behind Calvin McCarty.
Riley in trouble. Oh, he gets rocked. Fumbled the football. Mike Riley was leveled in Saskatchewan football. And he's slow to get up.
Weldon Brown.
And looks a little woozy. And there's a penalty flag that just flew afterwards. Mike Riley did not see this coming.
Previous
right here.
play is being reviewed.
They are reviewing it to see if indeed it was a fumble. You can see Riley was absolutely pulverized. 3 riders in on that sack. Weldon Brown, the former Eskimo, Craig Butler, and it was a head shot.
Well, and it sounds like inside of 3 minutes, the review goes to
the league.
But the review is whether or not the ball came out before he went down.
But that was absolutely helmet to helmet.
Well, and there is cases where, while reviewing a play,
you can
else.
See
a penalty. Yeah, something else.
If you can't see that one, something's wrong. Very interesting. See what happens here. Riley put himself in a vulnerable position out there, looking downfield. We've been talking about this Rocky Balboa type performance we've been watching today. That might have been the knockout. 1:18 to go. And here's Murray Clark.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Saskatchewan ball. After the play, we have objectionable conduct. Saskatchewan, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Objectionable conduct. Fumble. Weldon Brown.
Well, that flag flew a long time after the play.
That was Dwight Anderson, we think. And
so the play is ruled that the fumble stands, recovered by Saskatchewan. But the flag came after the fact.
And it was Dwight Anderson. So the 10 yards takes them back out of field goal position.
You can read Corey Chamberlain's lips. He's saying that was selfish. Take the penalty, because you're in field goal range there.
Corey Sheets, will they stop him? No, they won't. Outside, close to a first down again, and the clock ticks down to 1:10. Right now, time to chew up the clock for Saskatchewan, nursing a 3-point advantage.
Well, he's after Mike Pringle's records, and he's on pace to blow him out of the water. Very different style running back. But when he can close off games the way he's done this year, that's when you really know. I mean, he does it in a different way. Mike Pringle just took the entire defense with him on his shoulders. Corey Sheets will bounce around. He's got speed to the outside. That great shuffle move that he does when he's hitting the line of scrimmage. big in the second half.
Timer, please reset the clock to 1:10. 1:10.
They will reset the stadium clock. So second down and about 1.5 yards here. They get a first down, they can really eat into this game clock. Another first down could pretty much seal it.
Now, just so Edmonton fans understand that in plays like this, if memory serves, that hit on Riley, the command center cannot call that penalty to hit to the head during a review process.
Stonewalled there and then takes the pile forward.
They review whether or not it was a fumble, which they did, and got that call and turned it over to Saskatchewan. But that hit to the head, which will be looked at, and likely we'll see some punishment for that
Edmonton.
after the fact. But under the current rules, the command center cannot call a penalty when they're reviewing that. They cannot call the penalty for hit to the head when they're reviewing that play.
Timeout here when Edmonton reviews this, and it looks like Saskatchewan, barring some major mistake here, will go on to the victory.
Did you see the Montreal BC game? Are you declaring?
No, we've done that before.
Okay.
But when they look back at it, Edmonton's also going to rue that first and goal from the 2.
Yeah.
That was really the turning point of the ball game.
A fumble and then the fumble recovered themselves, and then the interception to Dwight Anderson.
First down. Sheets again. Left, right, middle, whatever. Taking a pass out of the backfield has been another Corey Sheets showcase. Remarkable season. Darian Durant, equally remarkable. Still has not thrown an interception.
Amazing.
Ricky Ray, also not throwing an interception.
Another full game without one.
Look at the percentage.
Over 300 yards, no interceptions the entire 2013 season.
80% Corey Sheets. That will tick the clock down to 18.
They'll blow it in and run down as much as they can. And Darian Durant will get it right down to zeros and then take a knee on third down.
Victory formation for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Facing adversity for the second straight week. They are able to come back and they're able to win it. First time since 71. 7-1 are the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Outstanding football game. Mike Riley, what a performance again in a losing cause. The Edmonton Eskimos, first time since 71, are now 1-7. They've been so close, and the breakthrough still hasn't happened. Still looking for that second win.
1-2 punch. Darian Durant over 300. Corey Sheets over 100. Once again, Saskatchewan Roughriders find a way in the end.
Find a way to win, just as they did on opening night here in Edmonton. 30-27 is the final. For the best team in the Canadian Football League right now, the Saskatchewan Roughriders.